All right, I'm getting a lot of questions about Davante Adams because the Jets, as expected, want to move him. So he is on the trade block. The 49ers obviously traded Deebo Samuel yesterday, and there is some talk of the 49ers being interested in moving Brandon Ayuk. So obviously the 49ers are retooling their receiving room. And about a month ago, we heard that Davante Adams, an East Palo Alto native, went to Fresno State, would be open to playing on the West Coast. He's due 36.2 million in each of the next two seasons. None of that is guaranteed. That's still a very high number. For reference, the highest number in APY at receiver in the entire NFL is Justin Jefferson on that mega deal, which is worth 35 million annually. So the Jets probably aren't going to find any takers for Davante Adams, who's a 32-year-old receiver, unless they eat part of the salary. 2 more seasons under team control, though. If Adams is released, I would expect him to follow Aaron Rodgers. That seems to be the standard operating procedure for Davante Adams. He was traded this past season from the Raiders to the Jets, where Aaron Rodgers was. But if he is somehow traded, if the 49ers say, we really want Davante Adams because he's a great route runner to pair with Brock Purdy, then obviously Adams won't have control over where he goes. Now, the 49ers, we talk about cost efficiency. Deebo Samuel, moving on from him, saved them $17.5 million. They are interested in savings on the Brandon Ayuk front. Somebody like Davante Adams, and I said this back when he first expressed interest in playing on the West Coast about a month ago, the 49ers would have to land him at a cost-efficient price. So if this were a trade that prevented Davante Adams from following Aaron Rodgers, then the Jets would have to eat enough of the salary for the 49ers to deem this a cost-efficient play. They want to get younger, but younger players, especially ones that you acquire through the draft, those are usually the vehicles toward cost efficiency. But you can still pick up an older, really good player, and Davante Adams has picked up 1,000 receiving yards in several straight seasons, so he's still a really good route runner, really good player. You could still attain cost efficiency with an older player. It just is a little bit harder to do. And the question would be, how much would the Jets be willing to eat of Davante Adams' contract if they did execute a trade with anybody? Specifically, in this case, we're talking about the 49ers. And that goes back to how much do the Jets value a draft pick. I think the 49ers at a certain price would be okay with parting ways with a mid to lower round draft pick for 2 years of Davante Adams at a efficient cost, but the Jets would also obviously have to say yes. So, as you can imagine, with multiple variables floating around, this is something that probably won't be easy to do. I think in all likelihood, Davante Adams will be released, and in that case, he'll go follow Aaron Rodgers. And then you could start looking at other options for the 49ers at wide receiver. I've always thought that a mid-tier option would be the likeliest for San Francisco through the veteran market, plus potentially another draftee. They picked Ricky Pearsall last year. We can talk about all the receiving prospects this year, starting with Tedero McMillan, the big 6'5" target out of Arizona. If the 49ers want to move to more of a contested catch guy to take advantage of the touch that Brock Purdy's been able to put on the football. But if we are looking at that veteran market, then the name I've talked about is Darius Slayton, Elijah Moore, depending on what kind of skill set you want. But those players obviously would all be financially much more within reach for the 49ers on a mid-level contract than somebody like Davante Adams. Unless the Jets get crazy and want to eat a lot of his salary and don't require too high of a draft pick. But usually those two things are inversely correlated, right? The more salary a team eats, the higher draft pick they'll require. And at that point, you have to realize that Adams is 32. But he's a good enough player to discuss. Still playing some good football, and the 49ers are looking to earn separation in their wide receiver room. The hard truth is that they ranked dead last in average separation at the time of catch or incompletion last year. Having Davante Adams would help that, but attaining Davante Adams, getting him on the roster, is a much more complicated proposition. That's the latest. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Offensive lineman testing today at the NFL Combine. And I think I need to talk about Armand Membu in the next video. So hit that subscribe button. We'll talk to you soon.